guys ready to watch the game?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Gate. I'm Dustman, and with me, as always, my co-host Nate.
What's up, guys? And on this episode, we've got our actual dog, Otis. Just playing. This week we're doing a little bit different. We're just going to be talking back and forth, just hanging out, going over some questions and
A little bit of tips and tricks, a little bit of,
just general talking. And so, you want to just roll on into that?
Yeah, so our first question is going to be, does Connor get the title again?
Yeah. I'm thinking he's going to get it again.
Yeah, I mean, he looked really good on Friday, Saturday, I don't really know a whole lot of what happened, but he's looking strong. It's not really one of the easier questions that I can answer because there's so many dudes out there.
That is true. And Joris is looking pretty strong this year, too. And if Isaac stays in the States, he's going fast.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of really fast guys.
There is. It's hard to say. I mean, people are just going to go for their favorites anyways,
Mm-hmm.
So, does he actually get it? I would say it's like a 50-50, I'd say if he gets a good gate, they have, it's just so much that, it comes down to with that big of a race. So,
I think he's been pretty good at pulling it together when he needs to.
Yeah, he does. So, maybe it's 75. Maybe it's 75% chance because he's been doing the work, so he knows how to do it. But there's that curse,
Yeah.
So we'll see. And then the next question is going to be our opinions on the new Mongoose frame. You want to go ahead and start in with that?
Yeah, sure. It's growing on me. At first, I was kind of complaining because it has a really short rear end, and I'm always like the bike with the longer rear end. It feels more stable to me.
Yeah.
But now that as I'm starting to ride it more, I'm realizing how much better it feels riding it on the track. I definitely feel it in my bike skill and everything. It's got a lot. It's making it easier for me to drive in the manuals and stuff. And where's the dog going?
But yeah, the Cruiser. I would say the Cruiser definitely was. That's a little different.
Put the dog down.
I jumped on the Cruiser, and I definitely did not like the Cruiser as much. The 20-inch, I jumped on that in Tulsa, and that was pretty easy for me. That was a nice little transition. It didn't feel much different. The Haro was pretty nice, but I jumped right on it, and it didn't feel any different,
Okay.
So when I jumped onto the Mongoose, it was totally not where it didn't feel the same. It wasn't, because I expected that, since the 20 swapped over so nicely that the Cruiser was going to do the same. But it wasn't like that, so
Yeah.
I had to tweak that a little bit, but
What was it doing differently? Was it picking up easier? Or?
I don't know. It just didn't feel the same. I had to set it up a little bit differently. I feel like maybe I had to. I think I ended up switching my spacers around from the top to maybe the bottom or something like that.
You just had to mess with the ride height of the handlebars.
Yeah. So I had to tweak it to make it feel good. So
yeah. I've definitely. You really didn't notice how much easier it picks up than the Haro?
I'd say not really, because I was already on the carbon forks and stuff, so I was never on that before in my life, so riding them on the Haro was totally different for me. It's crazy because I never had a lightweight front end like that anyway. So as soon as I jumped onto that, it was kind of crazy anyways, So when I jumped to that, I'm one of the people that I don't really stress on what the bike is like. I will ride anything.
Okay.
So if my bike broke down, I could jump on your bike and probably do just as good as I do on my bike, because that's the way I've been my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I just jump on anything, and it's just I transition easy because I'm worried about what I do on the bike rather than what the bike feels like.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to worry about how I do it, rather than what it's doing. So
it definitely takes me a lot longer than just hopping on another bike to get used to it.
Yeah.
Like it takes me a little bit to get used to everything. And I just
So how did it feel coming off the big hill then?
the big hill. Oh man! So I definitely noticed I had to keep my weight over the front end.
Yeah.
Because out of the gate it'll pop up a little bit easier than the Haro did. It definitely made me focus on like driving out like a normal sprint off just like sprint blocks. You know?
Yeah. I also have my dropouts in the back. I think they're pretty far back, So
Yeah.
I mean, I try to get as much as I can out of the back end, so that way I do have that front end, to stay down. Because I had that problem as well last year when I was riding the Havoc. It was a short back end, and I was having the same problem. My front end was coming up, and I just did garbage on 20th last year. And then I think it was the following races when I ended up getting the Haro and riding, the longer back end, and it changed for sure.
Okay.
Changed the way I rode.
That's crazy.
Out of the gate at least.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have the rear end slanted on my Goose.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe I should put an extra link in the chain and stretch it out some, see if I can get more out of it.
Yeah, I think that would help a little bit for sure.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's pretty good for me. I don't have a problem with the Mongoose, and I like it. I enjoy it.
It's as I said, it's definitely growing on me. I'm started to like it because it's making me feel. It's helping me pick up more skills around the track,
Right?
Stuff like that, and that's what I've been wanting to get out of my riding lately.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Mongoose is doing something good. Go ahead and check them out. We have nothing bad to say about them. So I know you guys go on Facebook and see a lot of people doing their training videos and stuff like that, sprints, weight training. We're going to go over that question about, does training actually make you faster? So what do you think? Does training actually make you faster?
As long as it's the right kind of training, because you can definitely train in a way that'll have an adverse effect to what you're going for.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bunch of guys who go way too hard in the weight room and it just kills their riding. There's some guys who just didn't get that they needed to put more power into their first pedal.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to hit and discuss a bunch more of that.
Right, I agree. I mean, to me, training is definitely a balance of being strong and being skilled,
Right.
Because it don't matter how many sprints you go out there and do, if you don't know how to manual, you probably should be working on how to do a manual before you go fast,
Yeah. Definitely.
So, training to me is, I came up from, I started when I was 5 years old. So I've been training my whole life,
right.
So like I've been learning how to do manuals ever since I was 5 years old, and when I was younger, I didn't do no training on weights, and maybe that's why I didn't do so well in nationals, but as far as weight training, it does help you, I feel like.
Definitely. As far as like a lot of squats are a big thing that helps a lot, and I've found that things that help with the stability, because I've torn up my knees a lot, and I've had to do a lot of exercises to make sure I keep the muscles around them strong, so I can put the power through my legs that I'm trying to.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done a lot of work with like a Bosu ball, just helping core and helping everything out in that aspect.
Right.
So I can transfer the power through my leg
Mm-hmm.
and create the momentum out of the gate. As far as like weightlifting, I'm doing squats help, and a lot of single leg things. Single leg and explosive movements are big benefits in the weight room and stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Elijah once said, how he said, it almost hurt him to do, weightlifting. You almost have to do what is comfortable to you. You can't overdo yourself. You got to do what you can. You go out and do some sprints. If you can't really do weights, just do some jump squats. You got to just change your way of how you do things.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to commit to it.
Yeah,
because that's a big part of me is my commitment to training. Sometimes like I start falling off, you know,
Right.
and then I'll go do bad and I jump right back on it, you know. But that's the hardest part, consistency, you know.
Right. You know, there's a saying I've heard. It's a good workout routine done inconsistently is not as good as a bad workout routine done consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And the consistency is the biggest aspect.
Yeah.
Just doing something over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely feel like sprints are something that people do not utilize enough.
Right. You also have to find your weakness.
Yes.
You know, you have to find your weakness, because if you don't find your weakness, you'll never get better.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that my weakness was the first straightaway, and that's what I started working on. I had bike skills. I had a lot of bike skills. You know, I could out pump anybody, but I didn't have the first straightaway. I didn't have the gait.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I do? I had to get into the weight room and do the training, and I had to get stronger because I knew that that's what was going to make me get that first straightaway. You know,
Right.
And also getting out there at the practice and with you guys sprinting down the first straightaway every Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
You know, multiple times.
Hauling.
So, I mean, that's definitely a big part, is finding your weakness.
Oh yeah.
You know, so, and there's a lot of people, you know, like you're all around pretty good. You know, you just need to learn a little bit of each. I mean, you got a really good gait, you got a really good first straight, you work, you know, pretty good on, you know, the rhythms, the corners. You're pretty, you know, you just need to work on everything a little bit. So someone like you has to work everything, which makes it harder, right? So, I mean, for me, you know, it's a little easier because I've been through it my whole life.
Right.
Some of the kids like them, you know, they need to just work on their bike. And bike skills is major.
Right.
You know, so.
Right. And like, as you're saying, you have to find your own weakness. I found my weakness to where, I ended up like straining my like Achilles's. I made my toes pretty much touch my shins.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to rebuild all that, and that's why I had to start to work on the Bosu ball.
Yeah.
And that's what started with the stability training through my legs.
So I was at the grounds on the pro jump.
Oh yeah, toasted them out.
Yeah, I told him he could do it. I thought he could, you know. He thought he could too. Well, you gotta think that you can do it, but he definitely went for it, you know. And he paid, just like, you know, you got to know that
3 years
it
ago.
happens. It happens. Yeah, 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
And he said it just has full strength in it.
Yeah.
Like last week.
Yeah, it's a couple. Yeah, not too long ago. It took a while to recover, and I did take a while to rehab it, to be honest.
And that goes back to doing what you can do. He has been training this whole time, you know, but he's been doing what he has been able to do. He hasn't pushed it, you know. He hasn't tried to hurt himself. You know, you gotta change the way you do things, you know. So.
Right, and it's definitely being able to be up on my toes again.
Yeah, I bet
That helps a lot,
especially coming out the gates and even riding, you know, on clips here on your front anyway. So
yeah, because up until like 6 months ago, it was sometimes I'd like power out of the gate and my heel would just drop for no reason, just randomly, and just there goes the gate.
Yeah. So as far as an actual full answer about this, you have to know yourself. To actually know what you need to do to train. So it's not like you just follow the same thing that he does, or I do the same thing that, you know, somebody else does. You have to know, you know, what you need.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's pretty easy for me.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you gotta listen to your body. Listening to your body is a big key thing. And I've done sports my whole life. I've always been real into like physical activity, just and making sure I'm moving efficiently. I've done a lot of running, a lot of like soccer,
right?
And all of that's just efficient movements. And this is another efficient movement,
right? And then like that. Also, don't be scared to ask your friends. He taught me how to get a better gait. I mean, George helped as well, but he helped me a lot with my gait. So you see somebody that's doing something a little bit better than you, ask them how they're doing it, you know, ask them, you know, what's a tip that you can do it a little bit better. You know, the BMX family is there to help, and, you know, the kids are somewhat just the same way, you know how kids can be, but, for the most part, they're going to help you, you know.
Oh yeah. Everyone always is usually down to help everybody. I mean, I know I always am.
Right. Especially when you're out there jumping, trying to do the same thing, you know.
Oh yeah.
So basically, if you need, bike training, you got to do bike training. If you need, speed, you got to do the weight training.
If you need the power, you got to hit the weights.
Yeah.
Sometimes all it takes is some more power off that first pedal. Sometimes you need to be able to spin your legs faster. And sometimes you just need to be more technical through the rhythm sections and around the corners.
Yeah. So gates as well, So the best thing is repetitive, try to do everything. Like you were saying earlier when we were talking about it, you got to ride everything, ride skate parks, ride flat ground, ride stairs, jump down the stairs, go to everywhere, the trails, local trails, build you a jump, do all that you can do on a BMX bike because that's what's going to make you better.
Right. Everything that you learn, you learn how to do that 180, you learn how to do that bar spin, and you learn how to drop off this ledge and absorb that impact. You learn how to bunny hop up this ledge. BMX racing is just, you take all the skills you have learned on your bike and you apply them at the track.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest part about like riding everything is it makes you just overall a better rider, and it just makes you able to like have more fun on your bike overall.
Yeah, and that's really what trained me the most throughout my childhood was riding everything. I rode everything. You could not get me off my bike, so.
All right. So another big question that I've heard people talking about is, does gearing really matter? And are you a spinner or are you a power pedaler?
Right. That's another thing. It's a totally different answer for different people. But to me, I think there's only one answer to me.
Yeah.
I specifically think that if you don't get out of the gate, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
So it's basically, you have a big gear, it's cool. You got a lot of speed.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like having a Lamborghini in Chicago in traffic.
Right.
What are you going to do with that? You can't use that speed because you got everybody in your way.
Right.
Now, get you, a little car that has, super, good acceleration. And I mean, you don't even have to have top speed. If we can get through all that, you're definitely going to be a lot better off.
Right.
But that also comes along the lines as you have to be good on the track, because if you don't have track skills, it's not going to help you really, because you got to get to the track and be able to work that fast. And I'm one of those people that can work the track really fast. All I need to do is get to the track first.
Right.
So for me personally, obviously, it's opinion, but I strongly feel like, for me, you want to spin.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to get out of the gate. I have been in a lot of races where I get pinched out all the time. I can't even remember how many times I've been pinched out, at many nationals. It might not happen so many times at locals, but it happens so many times at nationals because that's just what happens. So if you can get out and get ahead of them before they even get over, I mean,
it does help when you get out and first one in 30, definitely got a good shot at winning.
And ain't we training to spin? I mean, we get on these rollers and we're doing sprints. Ain't we training ourselves to do this correctly, right?
Yep.
So I mean, let's do it correctly for me. That's it. Then again, that's my opinion. I do the same thing on my cruiser. I run small gearing. I know a couple other people like Shane Harlow runs small gearing. I'm not gonna say what he runs, but he runs super small gearing as well. I know a lot of people that did back then now, and it works. I didn't believe it back then. I didn't like it. I couldn't do it. But when I started doing it, not too long ago, about like three years ago, it changed the way I rode. It changed the way I rode at nationals, for sure. But then again, you got to have the right gearing at the right track.
Okay.
So.
Fair. And you see, I'm the opposite. I like to run one gear for everything. Never move it, never change it. I ran a 44-16 for almost the entire time I raced my bike. Never changed it, not even for Elkhorn, where there's not even a first straight. I'd always leave just like the big gear because I was like, well, I can't spin. I don't got the spin. I've been a distance guy. The movement, the stronger movement was felt a little bit better for me. Nothing crazy,
Right.
nothing like those 45-15 guys.
Right. So you're like a long when you run. But see, that's the thing. Like when you can run super fast, right?
Yeah. But
I
I take big steps.
Right.
They don't rotate.
That's where I was getting at because like you got fast feet then, correct?
Yep. But they don't rotate around quick.
Right.
Because I take longer.
But see, that comes down to another subject that we're about to get onto is crank size. So
yep. I've always liked. Well, let's just go to the crank size.
yeah, I mean, so yeah, then gearing. Yeah, I mean, it does matter. So
Gearing definitely does matter.
we'll go right into the crank sizes. Does that matter then? Because I know that them both go hand in hand.
That is true.
You gotta have the right crank size for the right gearing as well, you know. So
Yep. And when I started out racing, everyone was always putting everyone on 180s. 180s, 180s, 180s.
Yeah.
You get all the leverage on your first, second pedal. Like, nope, I can't do that anymore.
Which I mean, that would be ideal for a smaller track back in say the later '80s, early '90s, because the hills weren't as big, so you needed that leverage. Like Rockford, okay, that would be decent, but at the same time, you're not gonna be. You'd have to have a decent sized gear for that too. I like the smaller cranks to me.
Yeah.
But it depends. See, like I said, I'm very particular with that. That's the one thing. Like I said earlier, I can jump on any bike and ride it, but at the same time, I do like to have my bike a certain way.
Okay.
Because and that's really, it just comes down to my gearing and my crank arms. Because anything else, I don't care. But if I go to a big hill, I'm gonna ride smaller crank arms. Because I don't obviously need that huge leverage on that. I'm gonna be able to spin a lot better.
Right.
So I'll just swap out I won't even swap out my gearing. I'd rather swap out my crank arms so that way I can spin faster.
Okay.
If I go to a shorter, smaller hill, I'm going to bring up to 172.5.
Okay.
So that's what I like to ride on most of the time is 172.5. But big hill 170s, a lot better spin. So that's me. You gotta be able to feel what you like,
Okay.
But at the end, it goes back to that me saying, I think that you need to be able to get out of the gate and you need to be able to get out in front of people and you have to be able to do that with spinning. That's going to come down to having smaller gear or smaller crank arms,
Yeah. And I mean, I've always liked the 175 length because I noticed the dead spot, but the little cranks, and plus I like using a little bit bigger of a gear than you do.
Right.
So that don't really jab together real well.
Right. That makes up the 175 makes up for the 44-16 because I run a 43-16.
Yeah.
And I run the low profile tires as well, so that makes it pretty small.
Right.
So it's probably about equals out about the same maybe, but I get up to speed a lot quicker for sure.
And I don't know. Because I did try the 170s, and I didn't have the power out of the gate. I didn't like how close my feet were together.
Yeah.
And it's I didn't feel it. I was liking it.
But see, that's why I only go to 170s at the big hill. And you just went there and you would know why I would do that now because you just said you don't get the power. You get in that gate and it's like this.
Yeah.
You don't need that power. All you need to do is be able to go like this.
Yeah.
So that makes sense,
That is true. That is true.
You're coming down that first straight with a whole lot of speed. If you can't spin, you're going to be not pedaling.
Yeah. And then plus you shorten up the cranks, the less distance you got to go around, the faster you can go.
Exactly.
Less energy you got to use.
Yeah, exactly. So when you go to the smaller hills, that's when you go to your 175s. Or you could even break down to like your 172s at the small hill.
Yeah.
And do your 175s at a big hill. And see, that's where it comes down to. You have to find out what you like. What do you like? Are you on 175s now? Go ahead and try 172.5.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. But you have to know where you're going and what you're doing, how big the hill is. Because it all does actually matter.
Okay.
It matters bigger than you think. And I didn't realize that until a couple of years ago. And we got a special little something here. Mighty Mo is doing a cruise, and he wanted me to say something a little bit about that on the show. Him, T-Bone, ATB, All Things BMX, they're all going to be there. Actually, even the other shows like Beer Budget BMX is going to be there. Chris's Corner is going to be there.
Yeah.
I think that's all of them. I'm not sure if I missed one. I'm sorry.
Heard it's going to be a real good time. It's going to be a dodgeball tournament.
Yeah, dodgeball tournament. I'm trying to get him to go, but he don't really like boats. But here's the shirt. I'm pretty sure you probably have seen a couple people riding these, like Howard Cato, Cato. They've been riding them on the practice, and all over really. Actually, a couple guys have been riding these just at races and stuff. So
yep,
these are pretty cool. I got one from Mo. I appreciate that.
Super high quality.
All you have to do to get signed up to go to that cruise is you can go to the BMX cruise on Facebook. You can message them. Anita, his wife, will take super good care of you. It's really cheap actually. It's really doable. It's only about $1,000, I think thousands, like 1,200 maybe, something for a room. And that's with the balcony, so you're right on the ocean. It's awesome. You're going to the Bahamas. There's so much stuff on there that's going to be super cool. I'm going. I recommend everybody to go as well. I try to get as many people as my friends to go. But we're definitely going to be out there and having some fun. I'm going to do a show on there without him. He's not going, so we're going to have somebody special on there. Maybe Nick Hurst. We're going to have somebody on there. We don't know yet. But
we're going to have someone take my spot while y'all are out.
Unfortunately, we might even be able to get a hold of him online. We'll see what we got.
Phone me in or something.
Yeah.
Put me in a little square in the corner.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. But we'll definitely get a show going out there and have a little fun on the ocean. I don't want to miss it.
Yeah, can't say I blame you.
Right, so it's going to be a good time. So go ahead and go to them on Facebook. It's Mighty Mo's BMX Cruise on Facebook. Just go ahead and give them a message and they'll take care of you.
Yeah, and thanks for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and share our video. Turn on that notification bell. And thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Riders ready to watch the game.